All right, let me tell y'all about another incident that happened, okay? We were doing this tour. Where's Mike Clark at? I need Mike Clark in this bitch. I love Mike Clark. I love that motherfucker, man. We were doing, going to stand. We were doing an event called the Wicked Clowns from Outer Space Tour. This tour was long. I mean long. This motherfucker went on forever and ever and ever. When we were done, the second leg just began. We just kept doing it, right? And I'll tell you what, I was at my breaking point, and so was Shaggy. We were in Kansas City, Missouri. We were both ready to quit Colt Cabana. Colt Cabana. And we had a minivan that we were pulling behind the tour bus that we would use to take us from the hotel to the venue and back, right? And the minivan was like about a $40,000 minivan. $20,000 minivan, right? And so me and Shaggy were like, we want to go home. We've been ready to go home. We're already 2 months past going home. So we called our manager, Alex, at the time, and we said, fuck your minivan, we're gonna run it into the river. I mean, it's a natural thing to do, right? Run it in the river. And we were standing there looking at like an area where you could clearly run it right into the river. Not so much as a curb or nothing. Straight into the river. So we called Alex and we were like, how much does this minivan cost you? About 20 grand? Fuck this minivan. We're running in the river. And Alex was like, are you gonna finish the tour? If you run the minivan into the river, will you finish the tour? There's only like 3 or 4 shows left. We were like, yeah, if we can run the van into the river, we'll finish the tour. He was like, go ahead and run it in the river then. Just take the license plate off. So we took the license plate off, we got a brick, and we got ready to run it in the river, right? And right when we were about to run this $20,000 minivan into the river, me and Shaggy were like, that's 20 grand. It could be in our pocket or the bottom of the river. So we called Alex back and we said, look, if you want us to finish the tour, we'll spare the minivan, but give us 20 grand. Now, I've never blackmailed a partner of mine. But at this moment, it seemed totally okay. It was totally appropriate. So we were like, fuck you, Alex. 20 grand of this minivan is going in the river, and we're not finishing the tour. So he offered us the 20 grand. And so I bought my parents, my mom and my stepdad, 2 watches.
But he just gave you the 20 grand?
He gave us the 20 grand. No, the story's not over. He gave us the 20 grand, right, to finish the tour. There was like 3 or 4 shows left. We took the 20 grand. Shaggy spent his 10 grand on whatever. I bought my mom and my stepdad watches. Probably fake. They wouldn't know the difference. But instead of running the van into the river, we decided not to. Now, when I took the stage that night, I want to tell you something. And again, this is another story where there's no real punchline, but I'm hoping somebody will find some interest in this. You know what I'm saying? Because I think there's a little value in the interest of this, because you might wonder why things like this happen, you know? But I took the stage that night, and I remember there was a kid in the front row, okay? This venue was sold out, Colt Cabana, like the many you've seen 5 nights a week, every week. Packed. The kids up front were literally suffocating. Their arms were pressed against their chest, they looked half dead, you know? And when I came out on the stage, I was super reluctant to take the stage because I was already extremely depressed and going through the minivan thing. You know, I didn't want to be out there no more. We had been out for literally 9 months at this point. 9 months on tour. All the shows had blended into one, and we just didn't care anymore. And I came out on the stage, all the kids were crushed up against the barricade, and I saw one kid crushed up in the most uncomfortable broken wrist position, but his finger was like this. Like he's all crushed up against, you know, like, fuck you, dude. And I remember thinking, if you're here to see the opening act, they already left. Why are you still crushed up against the barricade? Like, why are you still here just to tell me fuck you? You know what I'm saying? I did not understand it. Like, everybody, all the opening acts already came and went. You're literally right here in the most uncomfortable position I can ever imagine being in. Flipping me off like, fuck yeah, you know, trying to yell it. I didn't understand it, right? Then, when I started performing, I remember seeing this kid hawk up, and I don't mean to gross anybody out, but he hawked up a loogie. He was like, oh. And he spit this wad of something. And I remember it landed on my eyeball. I'm giving y'all the real. He was flipping me off, right? This little club, this little underground club, packed, sold out, hot as fuck, it's like 120 in there. The most uncomfortable position I ever seen a human being in. His finger was upside down, trying to flip me off. And he spit a loogie in my eye. And it hit my eyelid, Sarah Rusi. And I could feel it. I could feel the weight on my eyelid. It was causing my eyelid to hang down. There was so much phlegm in this wad of spit. Cockabana. It was causing my eyelid to hang down.
It's my new name, Cockabana.
Alright? I took a 2-liter Faygo. I opened it up, poured it over my head. Right? I could slowly feel the wad of spit dripping off my eyelid. Down my cheek. Off my cheek. Till it was gone. At that point, I lost it, and I went in the back and I sat on the steps and I started crying. Like a newborn baby bitch. I started crying.
I didn't know you were that vulnerable.
After about 4 minutes, Psyche came back like, what the fuck you doing? Get out there. And I did, because of his encouragement and the way he punched me 3 times in my neck. I decided I should probably go out there. So I went out there and I finished the show. But this is the point of my story. This is the interesting point, hopefully, of my story. That kid flipping me off, okay? That kid flipping me off, that kid spitting in my eye with that goober, he was not an enemy. This is what I want to tell you in case you find it interesting the way I do. He was probably one of our biggest fans. Because that kid knew that just singing along and mouthing all the words and doing what everybody else was doing wasn't going to get him any attention. You get it? What would get him a story to tell his boys on the way home? What would get him a story out of this show that he could tell for years to come? What could this kid do in this crowded, awful predicament to get one of our attention, right? And have something to say for it, probably for the rest of his life. Except that. You get what I'm saying? So sometimes those dudes that are flipping you off, sometimes those dudes that are spitting in your eye, they're your biggest fans, man. No, for real. You get what I'm saying? No, I'm not dissing them. I'm just making a point. Like, that is what gets The reaction.
He's saying whenever you go to a show now, make sure you get the biggest loogie in his eye to let him know that you love him.
Exactly.
Oh!
If all you're worried about is a story, that's a sure way to do it.
Imagine if you fucking came in his eye.